but it also links to some of the previous discussions we are having. I had a very interesting discussion about a month and a half ago, talking about driveway scoops. Very, very interesting discussion. Have you found it?
No, I'm still
I
looking.
emailed it last.
Do you have it on a stick or
Yeah, it's at my desk.
not a problem? We can do that.
In the black bag. And so it's under the table in the black carrier bag. Okay, so I had a very interesting discussion with a guy from Cape Town, a very well-known guy. I'm not going to say his name. Prominent in that he. Okay, I'm not going to actually talk about him. I'm going to talk about the problem statement that he came up with and describe his response. Again, I don't want to mention names. I didn't speak to him to say, can I do this? He phoned me because he knows why I specialize, and he was like, yeah, I have a problem. Municipality wants us to show the driveway scoop, and it's a house. Cape Town is mostly flat. You know, in Durban here, we almost have to. You have to, otherwise you can get flooding in your property. You have to ensure that water from the road doesn't get into your property. And thank you. So let me just finish the story before we go back here. It's a short story, but I don't want to take the responsibility for that. I said, well, that's normal. It'll take you 2 minutes to do the calculations in your head. It's just a ratio, you know, length, height, ensure that it's certain height above the road. You have a survey, you have to get a survey of the property. Cape Town is flat, so okay. It's not tabletop, but you should get a survey. I like to say, Cape Townians have a mountain. Durbanites are the mountain. I live in Westville. Few kilometers away, a very high elevation. So yeah, we live in a mountain. Anyway, so eventually I asked him, but why don't you want to do it? He says, no, he's a traffic engineer. Why don't you want to do it? The guy got a sports car, very low, it's going to scrape. I don't want to be liable for that. Like, there are minimum standards for the car height. And that's how the scoops are designed. So it's not your fault, but his fault. You know, again, where do we stop handing out our responsibility? Okay, so that's me. Cywid is a voluntary association I'm president of. Let's get down to this quickly. So what is the difference about the east and the southeast coast? I'm not going to talk about the western coast. It's different. I kind of designed this talk about more the tropical and heavy rainfall areas. So when I say coastal, think about the more high rainfall areas on the eastern side or southeastern side. Why is it important? The picture describes it. If you're designing in the Free State or Gauteng compared to designing in the mountains here, it's very different. Steep slopes, heavy rainfall, high humidity, wind-driven rain, high wind-driven rain. Okay, so what can go wrong? Why don't I just follow those minimum standards that SANS describes? I can afford to give you all the answer to that, eh? But the standards are those minimum standards. That's the answer. Are you designing? You are employed by your client to represent him for his best interest in what he wants. So do you want to give him the best, the best for his best interest, or do you want to give him the minimum for his interest? So SANS are basically the worst quality legal building you could design. Now, I sit on that SANS committee that authors the SANS 10 France suite of documents. So if y'all think I'm telling all this wrong, report me to SANS. But literally, that's another way of describing what it is. Which car do you want? Actually, which car do you want to buy? The ones that meet the bare minimum standards and let you or your family travel in that? What I'm saying is that failure is expensive. So, I would assume most of us are Durbanites here. This is a live event held in Durban. Oh, well, East Coast, coastal areas. How many of y'all have seen this, especially in modern type buildings with glass curtain walls? Have any of y'all experienced a show of hands? Just 3, 4. I'm 5. I'm surprised. I see it so often. Well, in my work, I get to go and inspect buildings also. Okay. But that's a very common occurrence. Is that the fault of SANS? Is that the fault of the contractor? Or is it the fault of the architect not decanting his responsibility? Again, I'm stealing words from the previous speaker here. Quote, I think next time I do that, I'm going to say quote and Greg. So that's the typical kind of detail. And you know what? Manufacturers will say that's okay. Nothing really looks wrong with that. SANS does not provide a detail or a technical detail. It provides a qualitative line, not a technical detail. The qualitative line is the building must be waterproof. How must it be waterproof? Now, in our coastal conditions, that is not enough. It really isn't. SANS 613 provides test method for water tightness. Well, amongst other tests, but for water tightness. I'm yet trying to describe water tightness. I'm saying this building could possibly pass that test, but you know what? Most probably not. You know why? The only way to prove it is you prove it on the window element or the fenestration element, not on how it's fixed to a building. There isn't a test method for that. So when you say SANS 613 compliant buildings, give me a certificate for it, they'll certify the window, not how it's fixed to the building. Most likely you cannot test the building itself. You can't put it into that test chamber. Okay? So, that is the minimum standard. When I say standard, it's not even a SANS standard, but it's what manufacturers might recommend. I've seen manufacturers recommend that, or installers, specialists. What's the problem? Will that joint survive when you add in the heavy rains and wind? When I mean heavy rains, between 80 millimeters an hour to 100 millimeters an hour over half a period, and that's for a 1 in 20 year return period. Okay, I know I'm talking engineering, that's one of the caps I use. It's not 1 in 20 year rain. It's just a language to describe a 5% chance of it happening at any time. It can happen today and tomorrow.